Hey, kia ora. Helen Burns here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1623, Small Wins. Yes, tonight we are talking about small wins. So why would we talk about that? Well, your small wins have a great impact in our lives. We just don't realize how much of an impact they can do. You could be feeling down in the dumps, but you get a small win, you got to celebrate. So it ends up boosting your vibrations, raising your vibrations so that you have a good vibration that you're now putting out. So what are small wins? We define small wins as those modest successes we achieve in our daily lives. It could range from completing a task, making progress in a hobby, making progress on something on a project at work, even trying a new recipe and having it turn out. Yesterday I had to cut everything short because the timer was going off on my roast, my pork loin roast. And when I got out there, I took it out. I took it out of the oven. I put it on the dish, covered it with foil, and then just let it sit for about 10, 15 minutes while it rested. Because you got to rest the meat before you go and carve it. And then I started carving it. And I've got this really cool carving knife. And it was like literally slicing through butter with a hot knife. It cut beautifully. And I was like, well, this is pretty good. And it's been probably since 2015, 2016 since I last cooked a roast. And I actually enjoy cooking roasts because even when there was just Brad and I, and even just me by myself, that's a lot of meals you can get out of a roast. So I like cooking roast for that because then I just got leftovers to eat and it's awesome. You keep the same protein and you just change what you put with the protein. It could be quinoa one day, it could be making sandwiches the next. You just just eat the pork and so I tasted it. Oh my gosh, it was so juicy. It just literally melted in my mouth. And this was while it was still hot. And of course, Zeffie's sitting there like, well, where's my bits? And I was just sort of like, you ain't getting any bits. This is just for me. Yeah, she didn't seem to think it that way. But I have to say, I have a small win with regards to Zeffie because when I sit down at the table in the kitchen area to eat, she comes there and she sits there and her front paws are just going up and she's going up and down with her front paws a little bit. Like she's pacing on the spot while sitting and her little tail is wagging and she's like, and then she's got this little going. And I'm like, no, you're begging, go lay down. And she finally got it into her head that what would happen if she goes and lays down. So she went and laid down over in the family room area, and it's one big, the kitchen, family room, and dining is all one big area. So she goes and lays in well, actually, she doesn't lay down. She goes and sits on her cushions, and I've got these two floor cushions which are kind of overlapping, and she sits her butt on them, but has her front paws on the ground. Funniest thing, for some reason, the butt has to be on a surface. Front feet have to be on the ground. So anyway, so she sits there and I made her sit there for a couple of minutes and then I got a little bit of tidbit of meat, put it down beside me and told her to come. And she comes running over, she gets a tidbit of meat and then she sits there doing a little pacing thing, wagging her little tail and then making her little whimper noise. I says, no, go lay down. And I says, we don't beg in this house, no begging. And so it's something that she's recently started. So I'm deciding to nip it in the bud real quick. So she goes back to her cushion, sits there. And then a few minutes later, I call her over again. So that was last night. Today, when she started doing that again, I went, no, go and sit over there. So she runs over there. Like she gets there and she sits there and she sits all proper and she's like, what? She's watching me intently. And then she comes over and as soon as she's had her tidbit, she went straight back to her cushions to sit down again. And I'm like, yes, it was a small win, but it's going to have a great impact because it means whenever I have people over for a meal or something, she's not going to be sitting begging at the table. She knows what she's supposed to do. So I practice that with her every single meal now. So it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner today. We did the same thing. And it got through to her because she went and sat on the cushions. So I was like, yay. But, and to some people, it might seem like a big deal. To me, it was a small win. For me, it was a small win because it's another way that we've got her with her. I'm trying to teach her good manners. So it's a way of giving her good manners and that sort of stuff. And but it felt good to me because, and when you get those small wins, it has an impact on you. You get that good feeling going. Well, it's good for the mind because the mind's like, we've had a win, yay! And then what it does, it says, let's do that all over again. We want to keep this feeling. We want to keep this high. Let's go do another win. So, and even if it's just a small one, sometimes you're going after the big wins and you're not getting them. But if you do if you're doing the steps along the way and celebrating as you complete each step, then when you get the big thing, it's going to be a huge relief that it's done. But the good part is that you've been boosted along the way, because each step that you complete, you have a little celebration. And you don't go outlandish on your celebrations. You make it appropriate for the size that it is. It could be something as simple as, yay, tonight I get to, for me, get my to-do list done for the day. Then I get to sit down and watch a movie. That's my thing. And if I don't get my to-do list, the TV stays off, but I may end up sitting listening to an audiobook, and that's fine. But, it's taking those little steps, and getting my to-do list is one of my things that I do. So practice. So getting into the practice of celebrating those steps as you complete each step in your project. Then when you get to the end, you're going to be really jacked up, super excited, because now you've got the end and you've had all these little mini celebrations along the way. Now you get the main celebration. What was I watching last night? Billions. I was watching Billions last night. And I'm at the end of season 5. So it was the second to last episode on season 5. And Bobby Axel thought he had this major win, and he had distributed cigars out to everybody in the workplace. But they weren't to light them until he said so, because that was going to be their victory dance. And so they finally had their victory dance, and they're busy smoking all their cigars, sitting there smoking their cigars and talking about their win. And, it's a great morale booster there in the office and all of that. And all of a sudden, Bobby finds out that, that wasn't really a win. He'd been set up and things were about to go downhill real fast. So, be careful of your wins as you go along, but, look at what you're doing. And take those little moments and celebrate them. It could be, maybe you've been wanting to get a book. There's some book you want to read or listen to or something. And so what are you going to put in place to be completed so that you can earn that book? And just setting these little goals. Some people call it gamification. I don't have them around. One of the girls in a group I was in one time, she collected these little mini trophies. For her, it was these little trophy things. And every time she got 10 little ones, she was able to trade it in for a bigger one. And when she got 10 of the bigger ones, she was able to trade it in for a bigger cup, until she ended up, and she had 10 little trophies. So that was 10 wins there. Then she had to get 10 of the medium-sized trophies. And of course, to earn a medium-sized trophy, you've got to have 10 little trophies to get the medium-sized trophy. So think about that. And then the 10 medium-sized trophies got traded in for a big trophy. So how many little wins did she have to get that big trophy? So think about that. 10 little ones to get a medium, and she had to have 10 mediums to get it. So that's 100 wins that she had. And this was, she was, I can't remember what business she was in, but it was based on the sales. How many sales did she close? And so she had to close 100 sales to get that big trophy. Get the big trophy, and she had to do it in a month. So she had a month to do this. And so each month, at the end of each month, she was able to take a picture of, here are my trophies I got this month, and how many medium-sized trophies did she have, and how many little trophies did she have at the end of the month, that was sitting there in front of her, to be able to say, hey, well, this month I did 63. Last month I did 58. I increased by 5. Next month I'm going to do 63, and let's see if we can increase that. And she tries to better herself each time. She tried to better herself each month, because she already gained the confidence. Well, I did 63 this month. I can do more than that, because I've already done the 63. And so that was how she did that, until she was regularly getting those 100 sales a month. So think of those things. What little steps can you be taking that, when all put together, end up with a big trophy at the end? So what else can we talk about? So you've got that. It's a positive reinforcement when you're celebrating the small wins, and it's keeping your vibrations high. And when your vibrations are high, you're attracting in the positive stuff. There's no room for the negative stuff to come in. If the negative stuff does come in, your vibration's could be high enough that it can wipe out that small defeat, but you just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and carry on. Keep going, keep going, keep going. So you could turn it into a game. You could turn around and say, like I do, if my to-do list gets done, I get to watch a movie tonight, or whatever I want. But usually it's a movie, because I like movies better than TV programs. I don't know. But then I'll also do like Movie Fest, and my big win will be that weekend I get to do a movie fest in something. It could be like watching Back to the Future trilogy. It could be doing a Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy. It could be doing 3 of the 6 Star Wars movie, or maybe one weekend I might even get brave. I'm going to wait for a long weekend to come up for that one. So I've got 3 days to watch 6 episodes in the Star Wars trilogy. And the Star Wars can't be a trilogy. In the Star Wars, the first 6 episodes of Star Wars. Maybe it could be something like as simple as that I want to get, if I get all 5 days, all 5 work days where I get my task list completed, then my reward is to have a movie watching binge something that on a long weekend or something. I don't know. I haven't worked that far ahead. I just work on each day. But I do have my goals in place. And when I look at my to-do list, each task on my to-do list is a step towards a bigger goal. So it's not just getting stuff done, not only just stuff around the house, it's also in work. What small steps am I taking to complete the bigger project? And this is when my Post-it note strategy comes in, where you take, I take the lined, where did I put them? I took all my office supplies out of the office while I changed my office around. I haven't brought them back in yet. But I take the lined Post-it notes and I write on there what the full project is. And then below that, I take just the regular Post-it notes and I put on there, this is the project that needs to be done. It's going to take me, and it's anything from 50 minutes or less. So it could be a 2-minute, a 5-minute, a 7-minute, a 10-minute, a 15-minute, a 20-minute, up to 50 minutes. And then I write that task down. So if throughout the day, I get something finished early, I'm trying to say, okay, what else can I get done? And I go and say, okay, I've got 20 minutes to my next meeting. What can I do in 15 minutes? Because I want 5 minutes to prepare for the meeting that's coming up. And so I'll go to my board and I'll say, okay, what can I get done in the next 15 minutes? This one, this one, this one. There's 3 small steps I'm taking to different projects. And I get in there and I get those tasks done. So, it's even adding tasks on. Those are awesome. So find ways that you can gamify gamify to something that you agree. What is it? What goals can you set that work for you? Because gamification works for some people. Some people do bingo games or something. And I'm like, bingo games? How do you do bingo games? And I know of one person, they actually have a bingo thingamabob with all the numbers in it, and they have a bingo card in front of them. And every time they have a win, they're allowed to take a ball. They're allowed to draw a ball from the bingo thing. I know. And then when their number comes up, they get to cross it off the bingo board. And I'm sort of like, but that would take a long time. And they're sort of like, yeah, might have to. So they're working on how to rework that one. But then I said, well, then if you had several cards, and there was all the numbers between those several cards, it might not take as much, but that was their thing. And somebody else is like I said, with the trophies, and me, it's watching movies. Maybe I should start doing movie reviews on my podcast doing movie reviews. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Now you guys got 2 months of that with November with James Bond and December with Christmas ones. You're probably movied out right now with me. I know I got movied out in those 2 days. But anyway, so, find what it is that's going to trigger you to go towards your goals in those small steps, so that you can have those small victories along the way. You can have those small celebrations that will eventually equal getting a big celebration because you've had the big win, that project, that goal has been achieved, the project is complete, and do it that way. So anyway, that's it. I'm out of here. Go set your mini goals. What do you do to celebrate your small wins? Do you celebrate your small wins? You should be celebrating your small wins. It could be going out and getting a cone of frozen custard. Oh, that's actually a good one. Might have to put that on the list. In fact, what I might do, this just popped into my head, is I'm going to get a jar and I'm going to write down different small rewards and I'm going to put them in the jar. And so instead of me having to watch a movie every evening, I could, turn around, my hand in the jar, pull one of them out, and that's my reward for completing whatever I completed that day. When I get my to-do list done, I get to pull a reward out of the jar. And so that's actually a really good idea, because sometimes in the evenings, I just don't have time to sit down and watch movies. I might not feel like watching a movie that evening. And then I end up accumulating these movie credits. So Maybe that'll be a better one. Put the hand in the jar and see what you can pull out of the jar. In fact, I think I will do that. Yes, that sounds like a good scheme to me. So my to-do list thing is once I get the jar done, excuse me, itchy nose. Once I get the jar completed, it's that if I get my to-do list done for the day, I get to pull out a reward out of the jar. And it could be anything from a cone of frozen custard. It could be watching a movie. It could be, I don't know. I have to think about that. I gotta think of some things. I'm gonna think of some rewards for small things and make a jar. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, I'm out of here. So what do you do to celebrate your wins? Your small win, your wins based on is it a small win, a medium win, or a major win? Major win being projects completed, goals accomplished. So what are your goals when you're doing those sorts of things? Do you celebrate your small wins? Keep the vibrations high. Raise the vibration. Anyway, I'm out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, Konara.